Hey everyone, and welcome back. Ready to dive into something really fascinating?
Absolutely.
We're cracking open Yuval Noah Harari's NEXUS.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's going to be a deep dive into how this invisible force of information
Mm,
has shaped literally everything, human history,
right.
from ancient stories all the way to AI.
It's a wild ride.
It really is.
Yeah.
So get ready for some serious, mind-blowing insights. I know I had a ton.
It's a really fascinating journey. It really is.
Yep.
We think of information as just like facts and figures.
Right, like data and stuff.
Yeah, but Harari challenges us to see it as this
Yeah.
invisible web
Yeah.
connecting everything,
Yeah.
dividing us, maybe even controlling us in the
Oh,
future. Yeah.
that's a bit ominous.
It is.
So he starts off with this question, right? And I thought, wait a minute, what even is information?
Right.
I think of data, news, stuff like that, but he argues it's bigger than that.
It is. It's like he uses this example of peace dove,
Mm.
and it's not just a bird. Right. It's like a symbol, a whole story.
Yeah.
Instantly, emotions and ideas and history even,
Oh, wow.
all wrapped up in this one little image. And that's where information gets its power from.
The associations.
Yeah, not just the accuracy.
Wow. Okay, so it's not even about whether something is true or not, but the impact.
The impact, exactly.
Because of the packaging,
Yeah.
the story it's telling.
Yes.
Suddenly, myths and religions lasting for centuries, total sense.
Mm,
Powerful stories, even if they aren't literally true.
exactly. And Harari calls this intersubjective reality,
Okay.
which sounds way more complicated than it is.
Right.
It's basically think about money.
Okay.
Money is just paper,
It's sure.
metal ones and zeros these days. But it's valuable because we've all agreed on this story about its worth,
So you're telling me our entire economic system
Pretty much.
is based on a shared story we all just kind of buy into?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, that's a little unsettling when you really think about it, but also makes you wonder about manipulation then, right?
Oh, absolutely.
If people are swayed by a good story,
Yeah.
what happens with misinformation?
Oh, that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Harari says misinformation spreads like wildfire for a couple of reasons, right?
Okay.
First one, it's often way simpler, more emotionally satisfying than the complicated truth.
Yeah.
It's easier to digest.
Right.
Second, we're naturally drawn to information that just confirms our existing beliefs.
Oh, totally. Even if those beliefs are maybe a little shaky. Exactly. It's like them saying a lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is still putting its shoes on or something like that.
Right. And then with the internet, forget about it. Things are moving at warp speed.
The light speed, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Harari uses the example of the printing press during the witch hunts. Can you imagine how fast fear and misinformation spread back then?
I can't even imagine.
But, and here's the kicker, with AI, right? Computers, they're not just tools anymore for spreading information.
What do you mean?
They're becoming the players,
Yeah.
shaping the narrative themselves.
Wait, hold on. You're saying AI is writing its own stories now?
Kind of. Think about algorithms,
Okay.
the ones that choose what we see online. They're creating these filter bubbles,
Yeah.
narrowing our perspective,
It's true.
maybe even reinforcing biases without us even knowing it.
It's like we're feeding these algorithms data every time we click, and they're feeding us these personalized realities.
Exactly.
That's kind of creepy when you think about it.
It is a little bit, yeah.
Like a Black Mirror episode or something.
And that's just the beginning. Imagine AI so smart, it can create totally new information, stories you literally can't tell,
Mm-hmm.
apart from human-made ones.
Wow.
Harari is saying this could reshape everything, the whole world.
In ways we can't even imagine.
Exactly.
It's like we're handing over the storytelling reins, but to who or what?
Right.
Okay, this is getting a little too sci-fi thriller for me.
Yeah.
Before we go full Terminator, let's back up a bit.
Okay.
How did information, especially stories, shape human history before the internet, even before the printing press?
Good question. It all goes back to the very beginning,
Okay.
to what Harari calls the age of stories.
Yeah.
And it all started with this thing he calls the cognitive revolution.
Okay, break that down for me. Cognitive revolution. What was so revolutionary about it?
So 70,000 years ago, something incredible happens.
Okay.
Our ancestors, they developed language.
Mm.
Complex language, abstract thought.
Okay.
And I think this is the most important part, imagination.
Okay.
These were the building blocks for storytelling.
So before this, early humans, they were limited to basic communication about immediate stuff.
Exactly. Hey, look, a lion, run.
Right, exactly. Lion, bad.
But this cognitive revolution, this changed everything. Suddenly, they could talk about stuff that wasn't right there.
Oh, wow.
They could discuss the past, imagine the future, even talk about things that weren't even real, like spirits, gods, things like that.
So like totally theoretical stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Wow. This is blowing my mind. So before the cognitive revolution, it was just reacting to whatever was right in front of you.
Yeah, totally.
But afterward,
Yeah.
our ancestors could share these complex ideas,
Right.
create shared beliefs, even if there wasn't any like hard evidence.
Yeah. That's huge. It's massive. It changes everything. This is where things get really interesting.
Okay, lay it on me.
Okay. So stories,
Right.
whether it's myths or religions or even just shared histories, these allowed humans to do something completely new,
It's that.
form these huge, complex societies.
Oh, wow. I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
Because now they had a way to create common ground,
Exactly.
like a shared purpose, even with people they'd never even met.
Think about it, right? Early religions,
Yeah.
those ancient myths, passed down through generations.
Yeah.
Those weren't just like campfire stories.
You're
They
right.
were this powerful tool for bringing people together.
Yeah.
They helped them understand the world, provided a moral code.
Right, like a framework.
Exactly. Even
Yeah.
created this feeling of belonging, you know?
Oh, totally. You're right. And these stories didn't have to be scientifically accurate
Not at all.
to be effective. Like their power came from their emotional impact, right?
100%. Think about it. Even today,
Yeah.
a really good story, it sticks with us.
Oh, totally.
Way longer than facts and figures.
It's true.
It's a testament to how powerful storytelling is.
It's true. And it's something that Harari keeps coming back to again and again throughout the book.
Yeah, he does.
Which brings us to the next era in Harari's, it's like exploration of information. The internet age, the digital age,
Boom. The information explosion.
We've gone from stories whispered around campfires to information, just like zipping around the globe.
It's like the difference between like a watering can
Okay.
and a fire hose, you know? Before the internet, information, it spread at a certain pace. It had these gatekeepers.
Right, like the publishers.
Yes, media outlets.
Right.
Controlling the flow.
Yeah.
But now, internet shows up, floodgates are open.
A tsunami of information.
Exactly.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
But like, with so much information out there,
Yeah.
how do we even begin to make sense of it all?
$1 million question. That's
Yeah.
what everybody wants to know, right?
Right.
And that is where Harari brings up this concept he calls the silicon curtain.
Silicon curtain. Okay, I've heard that before, but break it down.
Okay, so remember the Iron Curtain divided East and West Berlin.
Yeah, history buff over here.
So it's like that.
Okay.
But instead of like walls and barbed wire, this division is all about information.
Okay, so we're not talking physical barriers.
No.
We're talking about who has access to information.
Yeah. And the technology to understand it, use it.
Right, because information without the ability to understand it and use it is almost worthless.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Harari argues that AI, as it gets smarter,
Right.
it's going to create a gap between those who control it and those who don't.
So like a power imbalance.
Yeah, a new kind of inequality.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. So certain countries, certain companies, they could basically have a monopoly over AI.
It's possible.
And that would give them a massive advantage in shaping the future.
100%. And for the people on the other side of this silicon curtain, things could get
Yeah, not so great.
not so great.
Right.
Economic struggles, fewer opportunities, maybe even like social unrest, you know?
Yeah, it's like a digital divide on steroids.
It is.
But beyond these kind of geopolitical implications, doesn't Harari also say that the rise of AI has implications for like what it even means to be human?
You're hitting on something really big here.
Okay.
One of Harari's most like mind-blowing arguments
Yeah.
is that we've got to figure out a way to align AI with like human values.
Oh, interesting.
It's not enough to just keep making AI smarter.
Right.
We have to make sure it's used in a way that benefits all of us.
So we're not just talking about teaching AI to be smart, we're talking about teaching it to be ethical.
Exactly. To prioritize human well-being.
How do you even begin to program something as complex as ethics into a machine?
It's a good question
Yeah.
with no easy answer.
Right.
But Harari suggests we need to focus on AI systems that have human well-being as like a core part of their programming.
Interesting.
So for example, making sure that when AI is making decisions, like in healthcare or criminal justice.
Yeah, high-stakes decision.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That it's designed to be as fair as possible.
Minimize bias, that sort of thing.
Exactly.
So, like, building in those ethical frameworks, safeguards from the very beginning.
100%. And it can't just be about the tech itself. We need everyone talking about the ethical side of AI.
This isn't a conversation just for, like, Silicon Valley engineers.
No, not at all.
This has got to be a global conversation.
Absolutely. Global conversation.
Wow. It feels like we're on the verge of something huge here.
We are.
A shift, not just with how we think about information technology, but, like, ourselves.
That's a lot to process.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's a lot to wrap your head around.
It is. It is. But amidst all of this,
Yeah.
Harari offers a little bit of hope.
Oh, okay.
Something that might seem a little counterintuitive at first.
Okay, so we've talked about the challenges, the possible downsides of this silicon curtain, this idea that we need to make sure AI and human values are aligned. But I'm still waiting for that glimmer of hope. What's the optimistic take on all of this?
So Harari suggests that these challenges AI throws at us, this potential for division, maybe even conflict, it might be the thing that brings humanity together like never before.
Hold on, really? You're saying the potential threat from AI could actually unite us? That seems a little backwards, doesn't it?
It might seem that way at first, but think about it. Throughout history, haven't humans always kind of like stepped up their game when faced with big threats?
Yeah, when you put it that way.
Think about how countries have come together to tackle pandemics or climate change, things like that.
Right, when we realize we have to.
Exactly. And Harari thinks AI could be that same kind of push. It might force us to finally deal with some of these deep-rooted issues that have been around for centuries.
So AI as this wake-up call, this common enemy that makes us realize we're all in this together.
Exactly. It might sound a little too idealistic.
Just a tad.
But Harari's point is that the future of AI and humanity, it doesn't have to be this like winner-takes-all situation.
Right, like a zero-sum game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He really believes we have the ability to shape this technology to benefit everyone. If we're willing to put in the effort, prioritize what really matters, and work together.
Okay, I like the sound of that. It's a powerful message, but how do we make sure that actually happens?
Harari keeps coming back to the importance of education and like really being able to think for yourself.
Critical thinking, that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's more than just knowing how AI works. It's about being able to look at the information it gives you and spot potential biases, see through the BS.
So, like, becoming responsible consumers of information, and not just AI-generated information, but the stories we tell ourselves about AI, right?
Exactly. It all ties back to narratives, but it goes beyond each of us individually, too.
Yeah.
We need to rethink education systems, teach media literacy, and even look at how we can make sure everyone has a fair shot at accessing AI technology. We don't want to make existing inequalities even worse.
It's a huge task. It's really a global effort. But it sounds like Harari is cautiously optimistic. Like, he believes we have the power to shape our future, even with AI in the picture.
Absolutely. He doesn't think the future is set in stone. Not at all. The choices we make now, the stories that we choose to believe and act on, those will determine what our world looks like for us and for future generations.
That's a powerful note to end on. So to everyone listening, keep those questions coming, stay curious, and let's work together to create a future where both humanity and technology can thrive. And that's our deep dive into Yuval Noah Harari's Nexus. Until next time, keep exploring.